This generation of parents are willingly handing their children over to the enemy without them even knowing. There are many of our parents who have wronged us in our lives, whereby they did not teach us about God when we were still young, and they only taught us how to pray. They didn't teach us how to build a relationship with God, nor read our word, and so on and so forth. So what happens is that as we are growing from birth and as we are growing, what do our parents do? Our parents don't teach us about God. They don't teach us how to develop and build a relationship with God, but they teach us that we should go to school, that we should be successful, that we should get a business, that we should graduate, and all of that. They promote more of worldly things to us than they are to promote godly things. And that is willingly handing us over to the enemy. Many of us were willingly handed over to the enemy by our parents without them even knowing. That's why it is very important for us to know, and our parents to know, godly wisdom and knowledge in order for them to teach us about God's wisdom and knowledge. Because God's knowledge is all knowing, guys, like all knowing. But with the world, you're limited. And our parents depended on the world more than they depended on God. That is one thing. And them not teaching us about God has opened a door for the enemy to deceive us from a very young age. And this is what this generation of parents are doing, okay? So when a child reaches like 2 months or 3 months, you willingly introduce them to television, to animation, to your iPad, YouTube, and shows ABCD 1 2 3, right. And obviously, as a parent, you're like, oh my goodness, my child is learning 1 2 3 ABCD. But as they grow, that ABCD 1 2 3 is going to end up on sites like pornography, black webs, and so on and so forth. And I believe many of us can relate to that. Like the minute our parents give us a phone or give us access to the internet, we're obviously going to take advantage. We're going to be like, oh my goodness, I'm curious. Curiosity kills. And we were that cat. We were killed. And we must remember that the enemy is working through technology. He is working through the arts and entertainment. He is working through technology and things of the world. He is the prince of the world. And he is working. Like he's working 25/8, not 24/7, 25/8. I wish our parents understood that our relationship with God begins before we are born. Not after we are born, or when we can hear, when we can see, or when we can understand. Our spirit understands, not our flesh, obviously, but our spirit understands. And as you're teaching us more about God, our spirit is growing and getting closer to God and giving God access into our life, easier access for Him to reach us in every way. But then now, when we're not taught that, we are exposed to the enemy's deception. Now, the enemy can lie to us. The enemy can whisper things in us. We can be victims to lust and fornication at a young age because the enemy sees that I have access to them, that I can find access to them through the internet, through things of the world. Because what did our parents do? They willingly handed us over to the enemy. And honestly, this is sad because most of us have went through this and we never looked at it at this perspective, and God has revealed it to me, and this is not the first time, and I really wanted to share it with you because a lot of us can relate to this. And many of us who have come to Christ at this age, or at the age of 15 or 14, remember that you went through adolescence, you went through your puberty and all of that, the mood swings and so on and so forth, and you're obviously blaming the mood swings of how you're acting and so on and so forth, but it was actually the enemy deceiving you. That the guys, you know how we blame mood swings and all of that, like hormones, when we grow up and then when we reach puberty, we're like, nah. The reason why you're getting aroused is because of like hormones and all of that. That is the enemy. The reason why you're getting these thoughts of like depression and anxiety, it is the enemy. Like that is what happens. We use hormones and mood swings and growing up as an excuse, but it actually is the enemy deceiving us. And from my side of the story, it was very hard. Like it was very hard before I came to Christ. going through that phase of like being influenced by the homosexuality spirit, going through the sins of lust and fornication, going through those temptations and so on and so forth at such a young age, like such a young age. I'm not even talking about 10, before 10, being victims to the spirits of lust and fornication and gossip and anger and so on and so forth. Me thinking that I'm going through like mood swings and all of that, but it was actually the enemy deceiving me. Yo, like it's not nice, especially when our parents, guys, and parents, I need you to understand that this hurts. Like as parents,